if there is any vitamin that deserves more attention, it may be vitamin C. There are a lot of interesting things to do with vitamin C. I'm going to go over those, but I know you're here because you want to know if you're lacking vitamin C. How do you find out if you need more? You're not going to do a blood test. And even if you did, it's not going to be reliable because that's testing what's in your blood. And we want to know what's in your tissues, what is usable to the body. But here's the interesting thing. The government estimates that 20% of people in the US aren't meeting the average requirement for vitamin C. And that doesn't sound like a lot, but still, 1 in 5 people isn't getting enough. That's a little bit alarming. I actually think it's a lot higher than that. I think it's probably 4 in 5, if not 5 in 5 people aren't getting enough. And you may ask, how could that be? And this is where vitamin C gets so interesting. We used to make our own. Humans used to manufacture vitamin C in their livers. Somewhere along the evolutionary chain, we lost that ability. So did primates, but most all other mammals manufacture their own. So it's interesting to think, how much are those mammals making? How much did we used to make? Maybe that's a better estimate of how much we need, right? Well, this may be shocking. When we equate for body weight, changes in body weight, so we study a smaller mammal and we kind of extrapolate to see how much that would be for us. We're bigger. You would be shocked to know that some mammals are making up to 15,000 milligrams a day. The government tells us we should be consuming 90, not even 100, 90 milligrams a day is what they say is, the standard. And 20% of people aren't even getting that. Okay, but how much, again, should we really be getting? I mentioned that primates also don't manufacture their own, but we use primates for research studies, for testing things, all kinds of studies and clinical research. And so it's very important that these primates are healthy, that they don't have diseases and illnesses when we're using them for testing. Do you want to know how much they give these monkeys to stay healthy? Over 6,000 milligrams a day. So is there something they're not telling us? To keep the primates healthy, they give them over 6,000 a day. Other mammals are making up to 15,000 a day, but they tell us you only need 90. Something doesn't add up. And another way to think about this is everyone is going to be different. We're eating different foods. We're doing different things. And that's going to, of course, increase or decrease the demand for any vitamin in the body. But how do we know? How do we know? That's the question. That's why you're here. In the 1700s, people were dying, mostly men at sea, were dying of scurvy. There was a lot of them. And we know that scurvy is a prolonged exhaustion of vitamin C from the body. So a complete depletionary disease. So when you have depleted it out of your body completely, you're consuming no vitamin C whatsoever and you have no stores left. You get scurvy and you die. But how did they know that they were dying from scurvy and not, let's say, pneumonia or another illness? How did they know it was scurvy? They didn't do blood tests. They didn't even know what vitamin C was. It hadn't even been discovered. So how did they know it was scurvy? Because all of these people had the exact same signs and symptoms. They all manifested at different times and to different severities, but at the point of death, when vitamin C was completely depleted, they all had identical symptoms, about 10 or more of them. They just couldn't catch it early enough. But that's kind of the clue there. We know exactly what happens. So we want to look at what the body is telling us, what the tissues are telling us, okay? We want to examine the tissues or ask ourselves questions, say, do we feel this? Do we experience that? And that will give us an idea. And we want to use symptoms that are clinically documented because we've studied vitamin C comprehensively for over 100 years, back from the 1700s until now, 350 years almost. We know a lot more about it. We know exactly what happens every step along the way up until the point of scurvy and then death. We just don't want that to happen, so we want to detect it earlier. Okay, so I'm going to go over the 10 symptoms. You're going to look at these closely, and if you are suffering from 3 or more, it's a good idea you increase your vitamin C intake. So let's look at those now. Number 1, your skin will bruise easily, so you have more black and blue marks. Number 2, your gums will bleed. So if you experience this when you're brushing your teeth or especially flossing, you definitely need some vitamin C. Number 3, loose teeth or loss of fillings, or your fillings are falling out or loose. Number 4, susceptibility to colds and flus. So many people take vitamin C when they get a cold. I mean, that's like waiting for your car to run out of gas and then fill it up on the side of the road. You want to keep those vitamin stores healthy, okay? But anyways, number 4, susceptibility to colds and flus. Number 5, your wounds, your cuts, your burns, things like that are going to heal slower. So if you have slow healing, that's an early symptom. Number 6, this is interesting because a lot of people have this and they have no idea that it's a vitamin deficiency. Your cuticles will tear easier. Number 7, nosebleeds. Number 8, premature aging of skin, loss of elasticity, looking older, looking tired. That is a sign of vitamin C deficiency. Number 9 is broken capillaries or broken blood vessels. So they're like kind of pink spots on your skin. You'll notice them all over. Some people have it on their face, their arms, but it's broken capillaries under the skin. And last but not least, number 10 is lack of endurance. So if you tire easily, so remember, you're going to want to have at least 3 of those. I wouldn't feel comfortable telling you to take vitamin C if you only had 1. And I say this for every vitamin. If you've watched my other videos, you have no idea. And I've seen people, make posts, make YouTube videos about this. The number 1 sign of this vitamin deficiency. How can you possibly assume or think you're giving a reliable method by 1 symptom alone? The body can be exhibiting that symptom for a host of other reasons. Number 1, another vitamin deficiency. It might not be vitamin C. It might be another vitamin deficiency that manifests a similar symptom. It could be a symptom from taking prescription drugs. It could be because you have allergies. It could be because you have intolerances. There are a lot of other reasons. So you cannot simply use 1 or 2 symptoms. Those videos that show you that is just utter garbage, and you're going to be wasting your money playing a guessing game if you really need the vitamin. So if you have 3 or more of these symptoms, then you're going to want to increase your vitamin C. But how do you do that? And how much do you take? The next thing to consider is antagonistic substances. These are things that deplete and inhibit and kind of rip vitamin C from the body. Number 1, I'm going to tell you right away before I even get into the list is aspirin. And the reason I mention this is something people take every day. Their doctor tells them, just take an aspirin every single day. I'll tell you, for every aspirin tablet or capsule or caplet, whatever it is, it depletes millions of vitamin C molecules from the body. It just strips the body of it completely. So you got to be really careful with vitamin C because it's water soluble and it's really easy to lose from the body. So let's go over the other antagonistic substances. And if you're doing some of these things or consuming some of these things, it might be a good idea to eliminate those before you decide to start taking a bunch of vitamin C. So I mentioned aspirin. Oh my gosh, that one just, like I said, rips it from the body. Antibiotics is next. And that's interesting because if you take antibiotics, it depletes the body of vitamin C. And vitamin C can be used as an antibiotic in really high doses. So kind of strange there that the thing that your body actually needs, vitamin C, is being replaced by something else and also stripping the body of vitamin C. So you're even worse off to probably get an infection. Anyways, birth control pills is another one. Cocaine, if you're a recreational drug user, watch out for cocaine. That will rip vitamin C straight from the body. Cortisone is another one. Having a high fever. So yes, if you have a high fever, you should be taking extra vitamin C. It will help bring the fever down. If you smoke marijuana, that's another one. If you smoke tobacco, and then last but certainly not least, and this goes for many vitamins, stress. Now, how do you reduce stress? Well, that's for another video, but just know if you are feeling a lot of stress, your body will be using more vitamin C. That's what's important. You need to know what's pulling vitamin C from the body. Why are you seeing these symptoms? But you're taking vitamin C. You might be doing something else that's stripping it out of the body. Okay. So remember I talked about those animals at the beginning of the video? 15,000 milligrams a day. Some of them were producing, an equivalent of our body weight. That is during times of stress. So if you are under stress, your body can handle an incredible amount. And just so you know, the highest concentration of vitamin C in all of your tissues, remember, I always focus on this. You need to know how your tissues are affected. You need to know what your tissue saturation is, not your blood saturation. Okay? Because the highest concentration of vitamin C in the body tissues are in the adrenal glands. And that again goes to show you how important it is for stress and reducing stress, and keeping that stress hormone function operating properly. Okay. So that being said, you have 3 or more of the symptoms. You've eliminated some of those antagonistic substances. You're keeping your stress down. You're stopping smoking and doing other drugs, but you still want to take more vitamin C. There's 2 ways you can do it. You can take a supplement form, or you can take food form. So I'm going to go over a list of the foods that are rich in vitamin C, so you have that option. But what I also recommend is if you're going to take a supplement, just take a powder. Vitamin C crystals, if you add a teaspoon to water, that's already 5,000 milligrams a day. 5,000 in 1 teaspoon. It's really easy. You can take a high dose if you can tolerate it. And that's the other thing to keep in mind. If you take too much vitamin C, you're going to have loose stools. So you can sort of take it to bowel tolerance. So if you take a teaspoon and it sends you to the washroom, you have loose stools, well, just taper down a little bit. And you can do that a few times throughout the day. So you can take, half a teaspoon with your water in the morning, half a teaspoon in your water with lunch, and half a teaspoon with dinner in water. And that'll get you, over 6,000 a day. And that's enough. That's a great amount. Again, more than the 90 that the government tells you should be taking. Anyways, let's look at the foods. Let's see what we can do to increase vitamin C by eating differently. So, acerola berries, they're from cherries usually, rose hips, coriander, kale, oranges, Spanish oranges specifically are better, lemons, chili powder or chili peppers, broccoli, cabbage, papaya, kiwi. See, we got some really good ones in there that'll help you increase your vitamin C. I mean, papaya, kiwi, those are wonderful. Tomato juice, watercress, Swiss chard, grapefruit juice, and last but again, certainly not least, one of my favorites, strawberries. So again, rewind the video, pause it, look at those 10 symptoms, see if you have 3 of them. And, you might do this with your husband, your wife, your friend, your cousin, your mom, your dad. You might have 3, and they might have a different 3. And that's all right. That just means you're unique. You're biochemically a little different. That's part of our genetics. That's part of how we grew up. That's part of our unique biochemistry. But look for 3 or more. Eliminate antagonistic substances. Take a powder supplement if you want to get a high dose, or eat some of the foods that I listed. Go back to my page if you want to check out how to know if you're deficient any of the other vitamins, and have a wonderful day.